Welcome back, everyone, to day 19 of our Bhagavad-gītā study. And we're in the middle of chapter 11. We're meant to read text 24 through 34, but actually I think we'll even go back to text 16 because there's important stuff there that connects everything. So we'll do that. But here we are, right? We've in the beginning of the 11th chapter, Arjuna asked his question, can you show me this, Kṛṣṇa? I've heard about you in chapter 7, 8, 9, and 10. You've been telling me about your glories, about how that ancient, that force, that power, sometimes that person described in the ancient Vedic texts, behind the workings of the universe, that you are that person. And in the 10th chapter, Arjuna began to pray to Kṛṣṇa that I know that you are the Parabrahman, the Paradhamma, that you are that supreme force. And you've been telling it to me, but I've also heard this from Vyasadeva. I've heard it from Narada. I've heard it from Asita. I've heard it from Devala. I've heard it from all the great sages. You are that divine being behind everything, the force in nature, etc. I've heard about it now. Now can I see it? Can you show it to me? And so in chapter 11, Kṛṣṇa shows it to him in the universal form, right? How Kṛṣṇa, with one spark of his splendor, right, with just one fragment of his being, of his divine energy as the Paramatma, he permeates the entire universe. The universe is all in that form, and that form is permeated throughout the universe. He's going to show it to Arjuna. And so it began with Krishna's kind of preview. Take a look at my forms. Now you'll be able to look. I'll give you the eyes to see it. Look into it, and you'll see amazing things. And then we cut to Sanjaya in the palace with Dhritarashtra, the blind king, and he's just mystically has this vision. He's seeing that universal form and describing it to Dhritarashtra. And then Sanjaya, in a sense, then the film cuts from Sanjaya's description, begins to describe Arjuna. And now we see what Arjuna is seeing, and Arjuna is expressing what he sees. And as soon as we hear Arjuna begin to speak in text 16, we can make connections to the ancient Vedic texts, especially, I would say, especially the Purusha Shukta prayers. When you read the commentaries on text 16 through 30, where it's Arjuna's vision, the great commentators, the great acharyas are drawing connections between the descriptions that we're hearing of Kṛṣṇa and Krishna's form, the universal form, with the statements in the ancient texts about the supreme absolute being. And especially in text 16 and in the following verses, we hear the echoes of the Purusha Shukta, this ancient text from the Rig Veda. When you think about the Purusha Shukta, you can think of it as one of the most important hymns in the ancient Vedas. And it tells us that everything that we see, the entire universe, it comes from one Purusha, from one divine cosmic person. And that from this personal source, all existence unfolds. It's about like the early, I think it may be the earliest text known to man. And so it's where ideas are introduced about how everything in the universe is connected, and themes like how sacrifice is connected to the cosmic order of the universe. It's introduced there. And some of you may have heard, anytime you go to any Vedic ceremony, you hear it chanted, Sahasra Sirsha Purusha, Sahasra, it's Sahasra Sirsha, thousands of heads. Purusha, there's a person, there's a cosmic person with thousands of heads. Sahasraksha, thousands of eyes. Sahasrapat, thousands of feet. And so when we dip into, like, it's obvious when you hear it. Take text 16 here. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes, expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. Right? When Arjuna's initial experience with the universal form is wonder and awe, its glory, its power. He's seeing what he wanted to see. Text 17, your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence spreading on all sides like blazing fire, or like the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs. It's a a vision of Vishnu. It's Vishnu that wears a crown and carries clubs and has, his Sudarshana disc. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible. You are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal Dharma, the personality of Godhead. That is my opinion. And in text 19, you are without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and the moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning the entire universe by your own radiance. And now this is where things begin to shift a little bit. Text 16 and 19 connected Kṛṣṇa with the with the descriptions of the absolute that we get from the Vedas, right? The descriptions of that divine person. That's connected. It's connecting to those descriptions in the Vedas. Now, text 20 through 23, they're going to show Kṛṣṇa in another way. These texts are going to show Kṛṣṇa as the power of time, right? And this vision is going to rock Arjuna. Let's hear what he says. But we're going to see a shift in mood now from awe and wonder to like fear and practically terror, because what he sees is not going to be easy to watch. Why are we seeing a vision of Kṛṣṇa in such a fearful way, right? So much of the like if you read Bhagavad-gītā, it's often presenting Kṛṣṇa in such a sweet way, and we needed to hear that, right? It's Kṛṣṇa playing on the ground, being embraced by his mother, playing with his friends in the forest, dancing with the gopis. But now we're understanding, when you think of this material world is Kṛṣṇa. He's saying it is my energy. I'm within it all. And he's saying, don't take shelter of this energy, right? When there's a fascinating conversation in the Mahabharata where Arjuna's elder brother Yudhishthira is being questioned by the Yaksha, by this celestial being, given all these very tricky questions, and he's got to answer them with brilliant answers, and he does. And he's asked the question, what is the real situation of the material world? All right, and this is how he answers. He says, the material world is like a frying pan, and the sun is the fire, and the days and nights act as the fuel, and the passing seasons are like the stirring of the ladle. Time is the cook, and all living beings are fried in this pan of material existence, meaning they're being subjected to suffering caused by the constant change, which happens due to the force of time. So when we hear descriptions of the material realm, even though it's Kṛṣṇa in this, Kṛṣṇa is showing that this, he's showing we're never going to find that comfortable place in this world. So take shelter of me, not in the material form, but me as a person, me as Kṛṣṇa. And so let's read some of those verses, beginning with text 20. Text 20 reads, although you are one, spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space in between. O great one, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. All the hosts of the demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them very much afraid. Listen to this, how different people are perceiving this terrifying sight. There's all these devas, these powerful beings with these incredibly long lifetimes, feeling like they're almost beyond the influence of time. Right? But some of them are very much afraid seeing this form, and they're offering prayers to you with folded hands. And then he says the host of great sages and perfected beings. He says the Maharshi Siddha Sangha, right? The Maharshis, the great sages, or the Siddha Sangha, the hosts of perfected beings. They are all crying, all peace, shanti, shanti, and praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. So some are terrified and some are saying, we know this is that great person sung about in the Purusha Shukta prayers. Let us chant those prayers and glorify him, right? In text 22, he says, all the various manifestations of Lord Shiva of the Adityas, of the Vasus, the Sadyas, and the Vishvadevas, and the two Ashvis, and the Maruts, and the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you with wonder. These are all leading, powerful influencers in the universe. They are all struck with wonder, right? They may be able to strike us with wonder, but they're struck with wonder when they see this form. Text 23, O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form. Why? Because they're all being crushed, right? With its many faces and eyes and arms and thighs and legs and bellies and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. It's hard for Arjuna to see this form. In text 24, O all-pervading Vishnu. Now he's calling Kṛṣṇa Vishnu, right? Seeing you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance, seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered. And then in text 26 and 27, these are very important texts. When you really think about what's happening here, what Kṛṣṇa is seeing earlier in the chapter, Kṛṣṇa told Arjuna, you can see the future when you look into this form. And now he's seeing the future. He says, all the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, and Drona, and Karna, and our chief soldiers also, are rushing into your fearful mouths. I see some of them trapped with their heads smashed between your teeth, right? All of the warriors on that battlefield are going to die. Practically all of them, most of them, almost all of them. And he's seeing a vision of what's going to happen in that battle. It's saying, Arjuna, whatever your will is, the universe is going to move in its own direction. And in one sense, you're helpless about this. And Kṛṣṇa is going to speak to him very soon about this. So he's seeing the death of all the warriors on the battlefield. He's saying in text 28, as many waves of rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouths. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire, right? And so he turns to him, O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me, who are you? I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. Right? It's like sometimes when you see movies or television shows or whatever about like when people like bust into someone's house and they got a mask on and they got a gun and like, who are you and what do you want? Right? Well, tell me what you want and I'll do it. And so Arjuna's like, Kṛṣṇa, I've never seen this before. I've never seen such a powerful, destructive force in my life. This is irresistible. There's nothing I can do. So please tell me, who are you and what is your mission? What is your purpose in this form? What are you trying to do? And then Kṛṣṇa speaks. So text 32 through 34. When you hear these verses, let's not look at these verses in some superficial way, but let's try to understand the message that's in them, what's being said. And when we hear these verses, try to focus on this theme and see if you feel it come out, right? But here's a theme that we can draw from this is we can try to adjust the universe to our will, or we can try to adjust our will to the universe, right? This is what we call surrender, right? In other words, we hear sometimes within the spiritual context, we hear the term surrender and we're like, well, surrender means defeat. Surrender is something that we don't want to do. But here's like, it's something that the wise do, right? The wise, when they understand that I've been spending lifetime after lifetime after lifetime trying to adjust the universe to my will, right? And I'm always crushed. The results are always crushed. I'm always crushed. We're all getting crushed. The wise people say, what am I doing? Why am I such a fool? There's a lesson that I'm meant to learn here. And as I learn that lesson, I learn to adjust my will to the will of the universe. And what is that universe? Krishna is saying that universe is me. It's my energy. It's working for my purpose. What is the mission, right? What is the mission? Is to help us adjust, help us detach, help us all let go and connect with him with love in our minds and in our hearts. That's ultimately the mission, right? So here's the famous words that Krishna speaks, right? These were the words that were spoken by the scientist Oppenheimer, who was the main scientist that moved forward the project to create the first atomic bomb. And when he was describing that atomic bomb, he used the words that Krishna uses right now. That when you see, remember in the 10th chapter was about vibhutis, when something special, something unique, something especially powerful arises. Krishna is saying, in any powerful thing, sees my power working through it. And when Oppenheimer was describing imagine what it was like seeing the atomic bomb when no one had ever seen anything like. We've seen it in film. When no one even had the opportunity to see it in film, to watch the destructive power of that bomb go off, and the glare and that big mushroom cloud, the power of it. And when he was describing it, he chose Krishna's words. Text 32, the Supreme Personality of God had said, "Time I am, the great destroyer of worlds, and I've come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain." Right? So Krishna is saying, I am the force of time, which is the influence that moves this material energy. Right? And understand that this material energy is always moving towards destruction. Yes, there's creation and there's maintenance, but it's always moving towards destruction. That's what happens in this world. Learn the lessons from it. Learn that it's never your home. Learn to take shelter in what's eternal, because this is always shifting, always changing, always grinding, always being destroyed. So he says, therefore, speaking to Arjuna now, right? Therefore, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies, and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They're already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight, right? You're thinking, what is my will? I don't want to fight. I don't want this war to happen. And Krishna's saying, the universe is moving in another way, and you can connect with it. You can be an instrument in this fight. You can be, and again, it may help, and maybe we'll discuss this later about the war theme in the Gita. This isn't, try not to put this in a little box about war. This is about how we approach the universe, how we understand the universe, and how we engage with the universe. And it's saying we can fight against it and try to bend it to our will, or we can bend to the movings of the universe, understand what it's teaching us, learn the lessons, and grow and transcend it all. So when he says Savyasachi, this is about Dharma. Savya means left, and Savyasachi means one who can hold with the left. He can hold the arrow with the right, that's his natural way, or he can hold it with the left. And when we hear about how Arjuna trained himself as an archer, we find that he's ambidextrous. He trained himself at nighttime. He trained himself blindfolded. He trained himself with the right hand, with the left hand. So when he says, "Oh Savyasachi, oh ambidextrous Arjuna, oh one that can shoot with the right or the left, you are the best of all archers. And you can take what you can do in this world and engage it, not to try to bend the universe to your will, but to work with the universal will." And then he says this, text 34, Drona, Bhishma, the two men that you love like your grandfather and your guru, Jayadratha and Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa is his real arch enemy, the person that he's been waiting to fight for so long. He says, these all and other great warriors, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight, and you will vanquish your enemies in battle. Stand up and do what you have to do, Arjuna. Don't try to adjust this world to your will, but learn how to take your talents, your abilities, and engage them harmoniously with the purpose of this world, with the purpose of the universe, with the purpose of Kṛṣṇa. In your mind and in your heart, engage. That's the yoga I'm asking you to do. Engage in this world using what you have to offer, with your mind and heart connected to me always through remembrance. And it's interesting that he mentions Jayadratha here. There's a story in the Mahabharata, and it's always been a favorite of mine. On the 13th day of the 18 days of the battle in Kurukshetra, Arjuna's son Abhimanyu was killed. And Jayadratha, I won't go into all the details, it's tempting to, but Jayadratha was very instrumental in that unfair and adharmic killing of Arjuna's son Abhimanyu. And before that, and it's connected to it, Jayadratha tried to kidnap Draupadi, Arjuna's wife. So Arjuna definitely has some animosity focused towards Jayadratha. And when he returns to the camp on the 13th day and is informed that his son was killed and the role that Jayadratha played in that, Arjuna takes a vow that tomorrow in the battle, before the sun sets, either I will have killed Jayadratha or I will enter into the fire and take my own life. And so day 14 of the Battle of Kurukshetra is incredible telling of, you see, everyone else on the other side knew that if Arjuna can't get Jayadratha today, then he will take his own life and this battle will be over. The other side will lose heart and we will have won. So their strategy was to set up layer after layer after layer after layer of obstacle and powerful warriors between Arjuna and Jayadratha. And if they could just stop him from killing this one person, they've won. And so day 14 is the story of Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna together, fighting, overcoming obstacles together again and again and again, fighting this incredible battle. And it has this, at the very end, Kṛṣṇa pulls out every trick in the book to protect Arjuna and to allow Arjuna to accomplish his task, which he does in an incredibly beautiful and mystical way. It's an incredible story. And imagine how Arjuna, he's been told this before the battle, Jayadratha is going to die. Look, there he is being ground in my teeth, in the teeth of the universal form. So when Arjuna took that vow, he was doing it backed with Krishna's promise. Either I will kill Jayadratha tomorrow, I'll enter into the fire. He knew that by Krishna's grace, he could do it. And we hear that beautiful, beautiful. Why I love it so much is because you see the love for Kṛṣṇa and Arjuna. When two people fight together, when two people go through a lot together, they become very close. And they become very close on that 14th day. And especially all that Kṛṣṇa is willing to do to protect Arjuna comes out in that. And there's something in this for us all to learn, that we all are going through battles and struggles and trials in life. Don't go through them alone. You can go through them with Kṛṣṇa. And when I say this, I don't mean it in some kind of superficial religious kind of way. What's being spoken about, my experience as a bhakti yogi who's been practicing this for nearly 40 years, is that there's a depth of truth in all of this, that we can go through life seeing Kṛṣṇa everywhere, seeing Kṛṣṇa behind everything that we're experiencing in life, remembering Kṛṣṇa. And as we live that way, that remembrance and that connection becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And you feel Kṛṣṇa's presence in your heart, not in a superficial way, it's not just a sentimental thing. It's a very real thing. And it will give you a steadiness through life's trials. And ultimately, it will give you the deepest joy in life. That's the teachings of the Bhagavad-gītā. That's the Bhakti Yoga message that is coming through the Gita, sown throughout it all, very powerfully told in the middle 6 chapters. And again, towards the end, we're going to hear this message spoken very clearly again. All right, that is the middle of the 11th chapter. Tomorrow we'll come back for day 20 and hear Arjuna's prayers, hear Arjuna's response to this very important statements that will be made there at the end of the 11th chapter. Thank you all so much. As always, I'm so appreciative of spending this time with you. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts about this. both on our Instagram page, Gita Collective, as well as some of the message that you're sending into Kaustubha. No, questions number 4, kaustuba@gmail.com. Love hearing from you. Thank you so much. Hari Om Tat Sat.